Hey guys, so the drill you're about to watch has a bunch of stuff going on in it, and let me just say, if you've got some friends and stuff like that who you want to try and do this drill with, first of all, make sure that you and they have some pretty decent obedience in your dogs before you start doing this. Secondly, I explained this a little bit in the intro to the drill, but make sure that the people whose dogs are laying down are all on one side of the table and they have the leads in their hands. And then whoever's moving their dog is on the other side of the table. That way, in case you do have a situation where the dogs want to growl, bark, nip at each other, whatever, it's a safety precaution to put in place so that the person moving the dog can snatch their dog off in one direction, and the people that have their dogs in a down stay can snatch their dogs off in the other direction, because dogs that are falling don't fight. And it's not going to hurt them. Usually they just, when you correct them hard for being aggressive, if they do that, they just pretty much jump off. But that is the major safety concern in this drill. You actually, in this video, will see one dog that acts that way. He was a new dog on site. He is a dog that somebody purchased from us as a pup about a year ago. And he just has been a little too easy on him, and he acknowledged that to me. He's like, when he saw me correct, which I'm off camera when I correct this dog, but he gets a hard correction because he didn't want to just go, okay, sorry, I messed up, right? He wanted to challenge, and when that happens, it's better to deal with that when they're little pups. But if you have to deal with it when they're a larger dog, number one, it's more intense for the handler that's dealing with it if you're not used to that kind of thing. But you cannot allow the dog to growl at its handler and then think that it got away with it. Now, if you have a dog that's acting that way, before you start this drill, you need to find a qualified trainer and have them actually help you fix that problem first before you start trying to do these drills. Don't go into these drills with a dog that is acting aggressively, right? Not without somebody there who really knows what they're doing if the dogs get aggressive. And probably if a dog is already acting aggressive, so the dog that did growl and nip at another dog in this drill was not acting aggressive previously. It's just a high stress drill, right? It's been close to a bunch of other dogs that they're not familiar with, and he just got stressed out, and then the dog probably stepped on him or something, which happens in this drill. But part of this drill is, I told you to lay there, I told you it's okay, I told you to wait, and you must do those things regardless of whether you want to or not. And behaving in a way that's aggressive toward the other dogs is totally unacceptable. Also, acting that way toward another handler or their handler is also unacceptable. So you will see that in this drill, but the key here is, this is, if you're at like, say, module 8 or so in the Canine Academy, and that's probably where I'll put this, is module 8 or 9, somewhere in that range. And because that's about the level of training you want in your dog before you attempt a drill like this. Now, you see us doing it with some pups, but if you have an older dog and it's not at that level, not at the, say, module 8 or 9 level, then get them there before you start trying this drill, right? If you have a puppy or a bunch of friends with puppies, you can start doing this drill way sooner. We do this with a lot of our pups. We put them up on the tables together. They can't just play with each other. I mean, we let them play a little bit sometimes, but they can't. The purpose of the drill is, during the drill, you have to be obedient. You have to do what I say. You have to stay still. You have to be close to each other. Sliding them on the tables, make sure that there's not gaps if you have multiple tables. You can do this on plastic tables. They slide a little easier on plastic tables, like the fold-out type tables. You can do it on wooden tables like we have. But make sure, I wouldn't do it on like a concrete surface, where because that's going to hurt their elbows, right? So the whole purpose of this drill is, it's a close quarters, moderately high stress. For dogs that aren't used to it, it can be fairly high stress drill. There's a bunch of extra handlers, there's a bunch of movement, and you hear me a couple of times correct the people that are handling the dogs for getting distracted, right? This is something that when the dogs are good, that's one thing, but when the dogs are starting to misbehave, if the drill goes long like this one did, then staying focused on your dog is really important, right? And if you're a trainer and you're doing this drill with a group of people, you have to stay aware of everything that's going on so that if there is a problem, you can deal with it quickly. All right. So I hope you guys enjoy this drill. It's a great drill for stability for the dogs. And here we go. All right. So we haven't done this in a while, so we've got some people know what we're doing and some people don't. So here's how this works. The dog on this end is going to go over all the dogs. And so we're going to scoot these guys down just a little bit so there's a spot here for that dog to lay down. And then all the dogs get shifted. Okay, so they have to stay in and down while we shift them. And I either tell them like push or shift. Right, that's, I'm going to move you, you let me move you and stay in your position. Okay, so I'll be on the back side. When you're moving the smaller dogs, I put a hand on the shoulder, elbow on the hips, and that way I'm sliding their whole body. I don't want to just move their shoulders, right? And if you need help, then I'll be on this side and I'll kind of come down and help shift all the hips if it's a bigger dog, all right? Whoever's moving their dog is going to be on this side of the table. So if there is a growl, a bark, anything there's not supposed to be, the dog that's being moved comes off this direction. The dog that's laying down gets snatched off that direction. Dogs that are falling don't fight, right? So that's the safety mechanism that's put in place. I don't think we have any dogs here that are so big there's any danger to any other dogs getting stepped on. So that's how we're going to run it. Any questions? All right, so go ahead and scoot these guys down just a little bit so we have a spot on the end. And if we need to, there's gaps here so we can get everybody closer together if we need to. So part of this drill is stability, but part of it too is them allowing us to move them with our hands and they just stay in position. All right? Go ahead and start, baby.
Watch the tail.
And once we get going, you guys, once the dog passes over, can just start shifting. So tell the other dogs to leave it as the dogs are coming over.
We haven't done it in a long time.
Show where you want her to go. So just like in a foos, we're working a loose lead while we're doing this. So I have my lead, but I'm showing the dog where I want them to go. If they don't want to cross, then they get a bump. And then as soon as they start to cross, lead is loose and we let them walk across. Some of the smaller dogs, when they get to some of the bigger dogs, their hips are kind of sloped off the back of the table, right? So part of what they have to learn is with their back legs is to pick them up and get over the bigger dogs. And if they don't, and they just let their front moving, but they're just letting their back legs drag, they'll get to a bigger dog and they'll slide off, right? So if that starts to happen, I just kind of shift their butt back up onto the table. Some of the bigger dogs will do it every once in a while too, because they're just like, I just don't want to move my back legs. But just kind of watch that as they're going. So Loki's up next.
Loki's like, what?
Wow. Look, Mommy.
Good go, good cross. You see him moving those back legs, give him a little bump. Move it down. Yeah, Loki, come on.
It was like the same way. Right after we got told us that we were
Good cross. Attaboy. Good cross.
That's really too hot to eat the
And then as soon as you see him start to move, then loosen it. Yep, and praise. Yep. See a bit?
You came out here all nice and clean.
Good cross. Good cross. Attaboy. Good cross. Don't leave that alone. You're sniffing the other dog, tell them to eat it.
You never have a wait for
Cross. Attaboy. Keep your hand on his dog. Good cross. Attaboy. Good cross. Attaboy. Good cross. Start shifting. You guys are good.
Plutz.
All he wanted to do.
Next up.
Leave it. The ones that are bonding. That's a no.
Right up next to that.
Is it?
I see you, Scooter. You're fine.
We don't have a list of requests. We have a list of commands. They're not an option.
Right.
So I don't care if you want to do it.
Right.
You're going to do it.
What is it? Good job. Good stay, Scooter. Nice stay. Go. Good. Great play.
Loki, leave it.
Go ahead with. It's funny because now you look at them and they're easy to self-harm. So like. So Alexis, turn them around the other way. You guys know what's over here?
So he fell off.
Wait.
Intentionally probably.
Can you just start them right up here? There, bud. You can do it.
Down. Down. Stay, Scooter.
Good, go.
Good. Down. Stay. Stay.
Doug. Who is that? Leave it kind. Give him a correction when he's looking at him.
Stay. Easy. Cross.
Looks like you're calling him video back across the board.
Don't worry about that dog's tail. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. Down. Take up that one.
He's like, I got more room, Mom. I can sit.
He's saving everybody else from having to shift.
Like you in the bed. Turn. He's like, I'm doing the Plutz right here. Plutz? No. Plutz. Turn. Sorry.
All right, you can go.
Okay. Down. Stay straight.
Knock it off.
Make him leave it until he's over. Correction, we're still in the other dog.
Good shit. Stay. Stay down. Stay.
You got a hair on your face and it's bugging me.
Who is that? Give him a hard correction. Snap him off that table.
Down.
Give him a hard correction. And put him back up. Is he growling at you?
Yep.
Bring him over here.
Plutz.
Knock it off. Knock it off.
It's okay.
Fucking knock it off. Run.
Leave it.
Fucking knock it off.
Yeah, that's a training. He's one of the puppies. He's different.
Fucking knock it off.
Oh, that's a good sound. Okay, I see it. Okay.
Stay.
Up tight. Did you get handcuffed? Did you get handcuffed? I don't know where I freaking put my stuff. Thank you for keeping track. Yes.
Yeah, that was that.
There it is.
Nice.
Thank you. All right, put it back up on the table. Where's his spot? Oh, yeah. Now, don't overcook them right now.
Right.
So it's a big one. So now,
Stay scooter.
that's why we have one handler on this side and the other handler's on that side.
There you go. Leave it, Annabelle. Plutz. Stay.
you just take Connor. And then once Connor goes over, we'll shift everybody.
Annabelle leaving.
Can we go back in place? It's okay. It's okay. Step forward. I'm with you.
Oh yeah, he's a teenager for sure. No, there's been some times I've done not quite that hardcore, but like close enough. But no, that just taught me how to turn my wall completely. Yeah, I've probably always been 10. You'll just have like 10% for life.
Make sure you guys are paying attention to your dogs over here when the dog is crossing. They're not to sniff, they're not to move.
Leave it.
Good stay.
Let him cross. Leave it. Leave it. Good shit.
Stay. Good stay.
Good job, Annabelle. Good job.
Stay. Loki, leave it. Leave it. Good, leave it.
Good stay, Annabelle. Good stay.
Next up.
Good stay. Leave it.
I'd hold his lead, and as soon as he looks at the ground, down, stay in position. You can fish, keep over here.
Stay.
Good go, buddy. Good go. Good go. Good over. There we go. Hammer can just go, and then we'll shift everybody. Come on to this side. We're on this side of the table. Yep. You're over here, so they can all be over there.
And Archie got bigger. Trying to find where the dog can lay. I got it. Stay right there. Come on, buddy. Let's take her again. Oh, boy. He likes everybody. Good boy. Needs a little. Good stay. Scooter, you're okay. Leave it. You're okay.
Stay.
Correct, Annabelle? Leave it alone.
Loki, leave it.
Good, stay, Scooter.
Stay.
You're
What you
okay.
doing?
Loki,
Yeah.
stay. Loki, leave it.
Good go.
Good stay, Annabelle. Good stay. Good stay.
You need so much, but he needs this
Good
stuff.
stay, Annabelle.
Who was the first person to go?
Loki, stay.
You can kind of Show her with your hand.
Good stay, Scooter. Good stay.
With an arrow in his head, and this is where it's reinforced or leave it.
My what? I know, I see. Thank you.
He's like, no, I don't want to shift it again. Are we ready? Seriously, ready? We're going to shift. We're going to play your table again. You're welcome, buddy. Married the
Holy wow!
That was the course
She's like, I've been watching this whole drill, and I know what I'm
I'm
going
going to show you guys how.
She's like, but I did it, Mom. I did it.
Oh, yeah.
Connor's up. Cisco, pay attention to Connor. You guys do not get overly distracted.
Oh my gosh! What are you doing? What is she doing? Can we catch it on camera? Yes.
So do it like this. So her problem is not pulling her forward, it's her going too fast for her. So I'm going to be ready to come back. There's a bunch of new dogs here too.
Come on, bud. No. Leave it.
Oh, stop. Oh. We're doing something good off of that.
Go, Scooter. Good. Go, buddy. Good girl.
All right, oh, you went first, right? Okay, awesome. And we'll go water, walk around, de-stress. I'll do it, but I don't want to walk. All right, so you saw about halfway through the video is when that Dutch Shepherd male gets corrected pretty hard. You can hear he's getting corrected pretty hard. And if you have a dog that begins acting that way and you don't correct that dog properly, the dog is going to think that that's an acceptable form of behavior, right? So that has to be fixed. But then once it was corrected, he went right back up on the table. He finished the drill. He had no more issues. He had a few times later that day with his handler, and his handler took care of it in a good job. So I just let him work it. But that is something to be just cautious of and careful of when you're doing a drill like this. Then at the very end, you saw the little doodle dog that wanted to jump over all the dogs, gave her handler a couple of tries at it. When I was taking that dog through, and I did it with a couple of the pups as well, what I'm doing when I'm helping those dogs move, the ones that either want to avoid the drill by jumping off the table, don't want to move forward with their handler, or they just want to jump off the table, right? Any of those behaviors, when I take the dog through and I have one arm in front of their chest and I have the other arm kind of behind their back legs, that way I can control their forward movement, and I can also kind of, put pressure on their back legs that kind of pushes them forward. And then while I'm doing that, the dog is being kind of forced to take steps. And so they're stepping over the dogs, but then my arm that's in front is keeping the dog from going too quickly. So it's controlling the speed of which the dog goes through. If you're doing this for the first time and a dog kind of does that, sometimes the first time I'll accept it, and then I'll make him do it again and go a little slower, make him do it again, go a little slower. This dog just hadn't been at class in a couple weeks. She's done these drills before, but it's been a little while. You hear at the beginning, they say, we haven't done this drill in a while. We had not done the drill in a while. So she was just like, well, I know what to do. I know that I have to do this. So I'm just going to leap over the dogs. And we go, okay, like you're not going to get a correction for that, but you're going to do it again. And you're going to do it slower the second time, so that you learn to just deal with that stress, right? Because there's stress there for her, for that dog, and for the handler. There were some new people and new dogs there. And that will change the dynamic of the exercise. Once the dogs all get used to doing that together as a group, then the stress level goes way down because they all start to trust each other, right? Whenever there's a new dog and or a new handler added into the mix, then that changes the dynamic, because the dogs don't yet know that they can trust that dog or those people. And sometimes they can't trust the dog, right? Because we did have the one aggression issue in the middle of the exercise. And so those dogs are going, hey, that dog acted in a certain way, so now I'm not sure what I want to do when I go by that dog. And most of the dogs didn't react to that, but a few of them did. And you just work through that problem with your dog. That is why I recommend making sure you get to at least the module 8 range before you start trying to do this type of drill. But it is an excellent drill for doing with your dogs. It really builds the stability, it builds the communication between the dog and the handler, and it builds the trust and the bond that you guys have together. So I hope you guys enjoyed that one, and I will see you at the next video.